The ship moved slowly through the darkness of space. Captain Dohan stood at the front window and watched the massive space station grow larger and larger. It was called Orvillus Prime, and it was the center of all galactic power. Today, humanity would ask to join the great civilizations of the galaxy. Today, they would learn if they were welcome among the stars. Dohan was a tall man with tired eyes and steady hands. He had served Earth for 20 years, and he had seen many things. But nothing had prepared him for this moment. Behind him, his small crew worked quietly at their stations. Yuna, his science officer, checked her data one more time. Somi, the young communications officer, practiced alien greetings under her breath. Tai Wu, the security chief, stood near the door with his arms crossed, watching everything with sharp eyes. "We are receiving docking instructions," Somi said. Her voice was calm, but Dohan could see her hands shaking slightly. "Follow them exactly," Dohan replied. "We cannot afford any mistakes today." The station was enormous. It was larger than any city on Earth, larger than anything humans had ever built. Thousands of ships floated around it like insects around a bright light. Dohan counted at least 50 different designs, 50 different species, 50 different civilizations that had traveled the stars while humans were still learning to make fire. Their ship, the Haniel, was small and simple compared to the others. It was gray and functional, built for survival rather than beauty. Some of the alien ships looked like works of art. Others looked like living creatures. The Haniel looked like a box with engines. "They are watching us," Yuna said quietly. She was looking at her sensors. "Every ship in the area has turned their scanners toward us." "Let them watch," Dohan said. "We have nothing to hide." The docking process took an hour. When the doors finally opened, Dohan led his team into the station. The air smelled strange, like metal and flowers mixed together. The walls were made of a material that seemed to glow from within. Everything was clean and perfect, and completely alien. A group of beings waited for them. They were tall and thin, with skin that shifted colors like oil on water. Their eyes were large and dark, and they looked at the humans the way a person might look at an interesting insect. "I am Ambassador Veltris," the tallest one said. His voice was smooth and cold. "You are the humans." It was not a question. "I am Captain Dohan, representing the United Earth government. We come in peace, seeking friendship and cooperation with the Orathi Dominion." Veltris made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Yes, we know why you have come. Follow me. The assembly is waiting." They walked through long corridors, filled with strange creatures. Dohan saw beings made of light, beings with dozens of limbs, beings that floated through the air without wings. All of them stopped to stare at the humans. Some whispered to each other. Some pointed. None of them looked friendly. The assembly hall was a massive room with seats rising in circles toward a distant ceiling. Thousands of aliens sat in those seats, representing the 12 great species of the Dominion and dozens of smaller ones. At the center of the room was a small platform. This was where the humans would stand. This was where they would be judged. Dohan stepped onto the platform. His crew stood behind him. The weight of 1,000,000 eyes pressed down on them. "The humans wish to join our dominion," Veltris announced to the assembly. "As is our custom, we have studied their world and their history. We will now share our findings." A massive screen appeared in the air above the platform. Images began to flash across it. Dohan felt his stomach turn cold as he recognized them. Wars, bombs, cities burning, bodies in the streets. The worst moments of human history, displayed for all the galaxy to see. "They call this World War I, Veltris said. 20 million dead. They call this World War II. 70 million dead. They created weapons that could destroy entire cities in seconds. They used them on their own kind. The assembly murmured. Some aliens turned away from the images in disgust. They poisoned their own planet. They drove thousands of their own species to extinction. They enslaved each other based on the color of their skin. They killed each other over different beliefs about invisible gods. More images. More death. More horror. Dohon stood perfectly still. He would not show shame. He would not look away. In their short history, they have fought over 10,000 wars. They have never known a single century of peace. They are, without doubt, the most violent and self-destructive species we have ever encountered. Veltris turned to face the humans directly. His dark eyes showed something like pity, but mostly disgust. You are children playing with fire. You have somehow survived long enough to reach the stars, but you carry your violence with you like a disease. The Dominion exists to maintain peace. We have done so for 10,000 years. We cannot allow your sickness to spread. He raised one long hand. The application is denied. Return to your world. Perhaps in another 1,000 years. If you have not destroyed yourselves, you may try again. The assembly made sounds of approval. Some aliens laughed. Others simply looked away, already forgetting the insignificant creatures at the center of the room. Dohun did not move. He stood on that platform and looked directly at Veltris. When he spoke, his voice was quiet but clear. You have shown us our worst moments, our failures, our sins. Everything you said is true. We have done terrible things to each other. We have made terrible mistakes. He paused. The assembly grew quiet. But you have forgotten something important. Every time we fell, we got back up. Every time we destroyed, we rebuilt. Every war made us stronger. Every failure taught us something new. You see our violence as weakness. You are wrong. Our violence is proof that we survive. No matter what happens, no matter how hard we fall, we always survive. Veltris made a dismissive gesture. Pretty words from a dying species. Dohun smiled. It was not a happy smile. You will remember this day, Ambassador. You will remember the moment you looked at humanity and saw nothing to fear. And one day, you will understand how wrong you were. He turned and walked off the platform. His crew followed. The assembly laughed at his back, but in the highest seats, a young alien named Lyra did not laugh. She watched the human captain walk away, and she saw something in his eyes that troubled her. It was not shame or anger or fear. It was patience. As the human ship departed from Orvillus Prime. High Commander Corvan stood beside Veltris. Should we be concerned about them? Corvan asked. Veltris made a sound of contempt. They will destroy themselves within a century. We need not concern ourselves with primitives. Corvan nodded and turned away. The humans were already forgotten. Far below, the Haniel moved through the darkness of space, carrying its small crew back toward a distant blue planet. Dohun stood at the window and watched the station grow smaller. What do we do now, Captain? Somi asked. Dohun was quiet for a long moment. Now, he said finally, we prepare. 5 years passed like drops of water falling into an ocean. The galaxy continued to spin. The Dominion continued to rule. And humanity, rejected and humiliated, did what humanity had always done. They grew. The edge of Dominion space was a lonely place. Dead worlds. Empty systems. Places that the great civilizations considered worthless. These were the places where humans built their new homes. Colony ships left Earth every month, carrying thousands of people to distant rocks and frozen moons. The galaxy thought humans were hiding. They were wrong. Humans were spreading. Una spent those years studying. She had collected data from their visit to Orvillus Prime, and what she found amazed her. The aliens were old. Incredibly old. Some species had traveled the stars for millions of years, but they had changed very little in all that time. Their bodies were the same. Their technology improved slowly. They were stable, fixed, eternal. Humans were different. "Look at this," Una said to Doan one morning. They were aboard a research station orbiting a new colony world. The Orothi need 300 years to adapt to a new planet. Their bodies change slowly over generations. We do it in 20 years. 1 generation. Our children are born adapted. Doan studied the data. We evolved on a planet that wanted to kill us. Ice ages, plagues, predators. We had to change fast or die. Exactly. The aliens evolved on stable worlds. They never needed to change quickly. But we did. Captain, this is our advantage. They are frozen. We are fluid. We can become anything. In the 5th year, the colony on Myra 7 was home to 3,000 people. It was a mining world, rich in metals that humans needed for their ships. The colonists were workers and families. They had built schools and hospitals. They had planted gardens in the rocky soil. They had made a home in the emptiness of space. The Dominion Patrol arrived without warning. Taiwu's younger sister, Chie, was a teacher on Mira 7. She was 24 years old. She taught children how to read and write. She had sent Taiwu a message just 3 days before, telling him about a flower she had managed to grow in the alien soil. A small purple flower. The first flower on Mira-7. The Dominion ships did not send warnings. They did not ask questions. They simply opened fire. The colony had no weapons, no shields, no way to fight back. The attack lasts 11 minutes. When it was over, nothing remained but burning metal and ash. 3,000 people, gone. A small purple flower. Gon.Taiwu received the news on the bridge of the Hanyul. He listened to the report without moving. His face showed nothing. But Dohan saw his hands. They were shaking. Not with fear. With something much more dangerous. "Why?" Sony asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. Why would they do this? Dohan pulled up the Dominion's official response. It was short, cold, final. Human expansion into restricted territory has been corrected. The Dominion reminds all species that unauthorized colonization will not be tolerated. This matter is closed. Corrected, Taiwu said. The word came out like poison. They killed my sister. They killed 3,000 people. And they called it a correction. Earth demanded answers. Earth demanded justice. Earth demanded that someone be held responsible for the murder of innocent people. Dominion laughed. Ambassador Veltris appeared on every human screen with a message for the primitive species. Your people were where they should not have been. They were removed. This is not murder. This is pest control. The Dominion does not negotiate with insects. Your complaints are noted and ignored. Be grateful we have not removed more of you. Something changed that day. Something deep in the heart of humanity. For 5 years, Earth had been divided. Some wanted peace with the Dominion. Some wanted isolation. Some wanted revenge for the humiliation at Orvaldus Prime. They had argued and debated and fought among themselves, just as humans had always done. But now, for the first time in human history, there was only one voice, one feeling, one purpose. Duhan addressed the United Earth Council 3 days after the massacre. The council chamber was full. Every leader, every general, every scientist, every voice that mattered. They all came to hear what the captain of the Hanyul had to say. They call us violent, Dohan began. His voice was calm and steady. They are right. They call us dangerous. They are right. They show our history and see only blood and fire. They think this makes us weak. They think our wars are proof that we will destroy ourselves. He paused and looked around the room. They do not understand. We fight among ourselves because we are never at peace. Conflict is in our blood. War is our inheritance. We have spent thousands of years perfecting the art of destroying each other. And now, for the first time, we have something we never had before. He let the silence build. A common enemy. The room erupted. Not in argument, in agreement. Every hand raised. Every voice united. Earth would not forget Mira 7. Earth would not forgive Dot in the months that followed. Humanity transformed. Factories that made consumer goods began making weapons. Scientists who studied medicine began studying war. Ships designed for exploration were rebuilt for battle. The species that had always fought itself now turned its full attention outward. Somi worked day and night, intercepting Dominion communications. She learned their codes, their fleet positions, their weaknesses. The aliens were careless in their transmissions. They never imagined anyone would be listening. They never imagined insects could be dangerous. Taiwu trained soldiers, thousands of them. He pushed them harder than any human had ever been pushed. He made them fast and strong and deadly. He taught them to fight in ways the galaxy had never seen. And in his heart, he carried the image of a small purple flower that would never bloom again. One night, Somi intercepted a strange message. It came from Orvillus Prime, but it was not sent through official channels. It was hidden, secret, meant for human eyes only. They are coming, the message said. The Dominion has authorized a cleansing fleet. 200 warships. Their mission is to eliminate all human presence from the galaxy. You have 3 months. Prepare yourselves. The message was unsigned. But Somi traced its origin to a personal terminal in the assembly building. A terminal belonging to a young scholar named Lyra. Dohan read the message twice. Then he called his crew together. We have 3 months, he said. We have 40 ships against 200. We have technology that is centuries behind theirs. We have no allies, no support, no hope of survival. He looked at each of them in turn. Yuna, who had given him knowledge. Somi, who had given him information. Taiwu, who had given him soldiers. We have everything we need. Far across the galaxy, High Commander Corvan prepared his fleet. 200 of the finest warships in the Dominion. Crews that had trained for centuries. Weapons that could crack planets. He expected the mission to take 2 weeks. 3 at most. He did not know that humanity was waiting. He did not know that for the first time in history, every human on every world was united by a single thought. He did not know that he was about to meet the galaxy's true threat, on Earth. In the silence of his quarters, Dohan looked at a photograph. It showed a young woman standing in front of a small purple flower. She was smiling. We will remember, he whispered. We will always remember. And then he went to prepare for war. The Dominion fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel like a wall of metal and fire. 200 warships, each one larger than anything humanity had ever built. They moved in perfect formation, a display of overwhelming power meant to crush any hope before the battle even began. At the center of the formation, High Commander Corvan sat on his command throne and looked at the human station ahead. Tybec Station was humanity's largest military outpost. It hung in space like a fortress, surrounded by the 40 ships that represented Earth's entire fleet. Corvan studied the human formation and felt something close to pity. They had arranged their ships in defensive positions, clustering around the station like children hiding behind their mother. It was exactly what he expected from a primitive species. All ships report ready, his second officer announced. Awaiting your command. Corvan leaned back in his throne. Begin the cleansing. Leave no survivors. The Dominion fleet moved forward, their weapons charged with energy that could tear through any armor, any shield, any defense. This would not be a battle. This would be an execution. Then the humans did something unexpected. Instead of waiting, they attacked. Dohon's voice cut through the communication channels of every human ship. All vessels, execute pattern storm. Show them who we are. The 40 human ships scattered in every direction at once. They did not move in formation. They did not follow predictable paths. They flew like wild animals, each one choosing its own target, its own approach, its own moment to strike. The Dominion's targeting systems, designed to track organized fleets, struggled to follow the chaos. The first human ship, a small destroyer called the Bonghua, flew directly at a Dominion battleship 10 times its size. The alien gunners fired, expecting the tiny vessel to explode. But the Bonghua twisted at the last moment, dodging through a gap in the enemy fire that should not have existed. It passed so close to the battleship that it scraped against the alien hull. And as it passed, it launched every weapon it had into the enemy's engine section. The Dominion battleship exploded. Corvan sat forward in his throne. What was that? Unknown, Commander. The human ship survived. How? Our weapons are far superior. No one had an answer. Across the battlefield, human ships performed maneuvers that defied logic. They flew through asteroid fields at full speed. They used damaged ships as shields. They rammed enemy vessels and then pulled away at the last second, leaving bombs attached to alien hulls. They fought dirty. They fought desperate. They fought like creatures with nothing to lose. On Tayback Station, Yuna watched the battle data scroll across her screens. Her hands moved faster than thought, analyzing patterns, calculating probabilities, searching for any advantage. Captain, she said into her communicator, I have found something. The Dominion ships have a weakness. Their shields recharge slowly after taking multiple hits. If we concentrate fire in rapid bursts, we can break through. Doan relayed the information instantly. Human ships began coordinating their attacks. 3 or 4 vessels focusing on single targets. Overwhelming enemy defenses with pure aggression. More. Dominion ships fell. Corvan watched his fleet status display with growing disbelief. He had lost 15 ships in the first hour. 15 ships against a force that should have been destroyed in minutes. Commander, the humans are not fighting like any species we have encountered. Their tactics are unpredictable. Their pilots take risks that no rational being would take. Then they are fools. Commander, they are winning. In the chaos of battle, Taiwu waited. He stood in the cargo bay of a transport ship with 200 soldiers behind him. They wore heavy combat armor. They carried weapons designed for close fighting. They had trained for this moment for months. And now, as the battle raged around them, their time had come. The transport ship flew through the battlefield like a knife through water. Its pilot, a young woman named Jizu, had volunteered for what everyone called a suicide mission. She was going to fly directly into the landing bay of Corvan's flagship and deliver Taiwu's soldiers inside. 30 seconds to impact, Jizu announced. Her voice was calm. Taiwu checked his weapon one last time. Around him, his soldiers did the same. None of them spoke. None of them needed to. The Dominion flagship saw them coming. Guns turned toward the small transport. The first shots hit the ship's shields. The second shots penetrated the hull. Warning lights flashed red. Fire broke out in the rear. Compartments.Jisu did not slow down. 10 seconds. Brace for impact. The transport ship crashed through the flagship's landing bay doors like a fist through glass. Metal screamed. Sparks flew. The ship slid across the bay floor, crushing equipment and scattering aliens in its path. When it finally stopped, half the ship was destroyed, but the cargo bay doors opened, and Taiwu's soldiers poured out. The Dominion had not fought hand-to-hand combat in thousands of years. They considered it primitive, barbaric, unnecessary. Their soldiers were trained to operate weapon systems and command drones. They had never faced an enemy that wanted to kill them with their bare hands. Taiwu was the first through the doors. An alien soldier raised a weapon toward him. Taiwu crossed the distance between them in 2 steps and broke the alien's neck before it could fire. Around him, his soldiers moved like machines of war, fast and brutal and unstoppable. The alien screamed. They tried to run. They tried to surrender. Taiwu's soldiers did not stop. On the bridge, Corvan received reports of the boarding with disbelief. Impossible. No species boards enemy vessels. It is suicide. They are advancing toward the bridge, Commander. Our security forces cannot stop them. Corvan stood. Then I will stop them myself. He never got the chance. The bridge doors exploded inward, and Taiwu walked through the smoke. Behind him, his soldiers secured the room, disabling crew members with quick efficiency. Corvan faced the human soldier. The alien commander was tall and ancient, a warrior who had lived for 500 years. Taiwu was young and human, and covered in blood that was not his own. You cannot win, Corvan said. Even if you take this ship, even if you win this battle, the Dominion will send more fleets. 1,000 ships. 10,000. We will never stop. Taiwu raised his weapon. Neither will we. He did not kill the commander. That was not the plan. Instead, he secured Corvan and transmitted a message to the Dominion fleet. Your commander is our prisoner. Your flagship is ours. You have 2 choices. Retreat now or die here. The Dominion fleet hesitated. Without their commander, without their flagship, without their certainty of victory, they did not know what to do. They had never retreated from a battle. They had never lost to a species they considered inferior. But today, they ran. The surviving Dominion ships turned and fled into faster-than-light travel, leaving behind the burning wreckage of over 100 vessels. Humanity had lost 70% of their fleet. Thousands of soldiers and crew members had died. Taebaek Station was badly damaged, but they had one Dak Du Hun stood on the bridge of the Hanyul and watched the enemy disappear. His ship was damaged. His crew was exhausted. His body ached with a tiredness that went deeper than bone. Somi activated the communication system. Captain, you are being broadcast to every human ship and station. They want to hear from you. Doan took a breath. He thought about the people who had died today, the ships that had sacrificed themselves, the soldiers who had charged into impossible odds. He thought about Myra 7, about a small purple flower. Today, he said, we showed the galaxy something they have never seen. We showed them that humanity does not surrender. We showed them that we will fight for our survival with every breath, every drop of blood, every life we have. They came to destroy us. They failed. He paused. We did not seek this war, but we will finish it. Across the galaxy, on Orvallis Prime, Ambassador Veltris received the news of the fleet's defeat. He listened in silence as the reports came in. 120 ships destroyed. The High Commander captured. The cleansing fleet broken. Corvan's last transmission before his capture played on the screen. His voice was different now. The confidence was gone. The contempt was gone. In its place was something that Veltris had never heard from the old warrior before. Fear. They are not primitives, Corvan said. They are predators. And we have made them very, very angry. Veltris turned off the screen. For the first time in 10,000 years, The Dominion had lost a war dot, and it was only the beginning. 3 years of war changed the galaxy forever. What began as a simple cleansing operation became the greatest conflict the Dominion had ever faced. Human ships, rebuilt with captured technology, now matched the aliens in speed and firepower. Human soldiers, hardened by constant fighting, had earned a reputation that made enemy crews surrender at the sight of boarding pods. The primitives had become predators, but Doan knew that winning battles was not enough. To truly end the war, humanity needed to understand why it started. The answer came in the form of a small shuttle that appeared at the edge of human space, broadcasting a signal of peace. Inside was Lyra, the young Orothi scholar who had sent the warning 3 years ago. She had risked everything to reach Earth. She had brought secrets that would change everything. They met on the Haniel, in a small conference room far from curious eyes. Lyra was thin and tired, her color-shifting skin pale from stress. Dahun sat across from her, with Yuna at his side. Somi and Taiwu watched from the corners of the room, ready for any trick. "Why did you help us?" Doan asked. "Why did you send the warning?" Lyra's large eyes were sad. "Because I have studied your species. I have read your history, your literature, your philosophy. I have seen what you can be, and I could not watch the Dominion destroy something so remarkable." "Remarkable?" Taiwu spoke from his corner, his voice sharp. "Your people called us insects, pests. They murdered 3,000 people and laughed about it. I know, and I am sorry. But you must understand, the Dominion has committed far worse crimes than Mira 7. Crimes that have been hidden for thousands of years." She took a small device from her pocket and placed it on the table. A hologram appeared, showing documents, images, records going back millennia. The Orothi Dominion was founded 10,000 years ago by the 12 elder species. They claimed it was to maintain peace and order in the galaxy. This was a lie. The true purpose of the Dominion was to prevent any new species from becoming powerful enough to challenge the elders. Yuna leaned forward. "How?" "By elimination. Whenever a new species developed faster than light travel, the Dominion would evaluate them. If they showed any potential for rapid growth or military strength, they were marked for destruction. Not openly. That would cause unrest. Instead, the Dominion would arrange accidents, plagues, civil wars. They would destroy these species before they could become threats, and the galaxy would never know." The room was silent. "How many?" Dohan asked quietly. "In 10,000 years, the Dominion has secretly eliminated over 200 intelligent species. Entire civilizations erased from existence. All to maintain the power of the 12 elders." Yuna looked at the data scrolling through the hologram. "And humanity? We were marked for this? The moment you achieved faster-than-light travel, your species was evaluated and flagged for elimination. The humiliation at the assembly, the destruction of Mira 7, these were the first steps in a plan to provoke you into a war you could not win. But something went wrong." "We won," Taiwu said. "Yes, for the first time in 10,000 years, a marked species fought back and survived. The Dominion does not know what to do. Their system is built on the belief that the elders are invincible. You have proven that they are not." Dawan stood and walked to the window. Stars filled the darkness outside, countless lights representing countless worlds. How many of them had been silenced by the Dominion's secret war? "Why are you telling us this?" he asked without turning around. "Because I believe you can end it. Not just the war, but the entire system. The Dominion rules through fear and lies. If the galaxy learns the truth, everything will change." Yuna is already thinking ahead. "We need to broadcast this information to every corner of the galaxy. Every species needs to see these records." "It will not be easy," Lyra warned. The Dominion controls most communication networks. They will try to suppress the information. Call it human propaganda. Somi smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Let them try. I have spent 3 years breaking their codes and infiltrating their systems. I can put this broadcast on every screen in the galaxy before they know what is happening. The broadcast went out 3 days later. Somi had worked without sleep, building connections and breaking barriers that should have been impossible. When she finally pressed the button, Lyra's evidence flooded through the galaxy like a wave crashing. Against the shore, the reaction was immediate and violent. Species that had been loyal to the Killa, Dominion for millennia, suddenly demanded answers. Some discovered that their own histories had been manipulated, that wars they thought were natural had been engineered by the elders. Others learned that sister species, civilizations they had lost contact with long ago, had been secretly destroyed. 3 species withdrew from the Dominion within the first week. 2 others began secret negotiations with Earth. On a dozen worlds, rebellions broke out against Dominion garrisons. The perfect order that had lasted 10,000 years began to crack. Taiwu did not wait for the political situation to resolve itself. While diplomats argued and alliances shifted, he led a strike force to Varro 6, a prison world where the Dominion kept those who had resisted their rule. The prisoners were members of species that should not have existed, survivors of civilizations the Dominion had tried to erase. The liberation of Varro 6 was broadcast across the galaxy. Human Soldi. Ares opened cell doors that had been locked for centuries. Beings who had been tortured and forgotten saw daylight for the first time in generations. They looked at their rescuers with confusion and hope. "Who are you?" An ancient prisoner asked Taiwu. "We are humans. We are here to take you home." "Home? Our home was destroyed long ago." Taiwu looked at the broken being before him. He thought about his sister, about flowers that would never bloom, about all the things that could not be undone. "Then we will help you build a new one." On Orvalus Prime, the Dominion's power crumbled day by day. Veltries watched the news reports with growing despair. The coalition that had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years was falling apart. Species that had been allies for millennia now accused each other of complicity in genocide. The careful balance that maintained order was gone, and at the center of it all were the humans. Yuna had spent months working with Lara, studying the biological data of hundreds of species. Finally, she understood what made humanity different. "We are persistence predators," she explained to Doan one evening. On Earth, our ancestors did not hunt by being faster or stronger than their prey. They hunted by following their prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They could track an animal for days, never stopping, never giving up, until the animal simply could not run anymore. Doan nodded slowly. "And this applies to war?" "It applies to everything. Most species evolve to avoid conflict. When threatened, they hide or submit or die. Their stress responses shut down their bodies. But humans evolved to face conflict directly. When we are threatened, we do not freeze. We accelerate. Our bodies release chemicals that make us faster, stronger, more focused. We do not run from danger. We run toward it. Can the Dominion species? They are the opposite. They evolved on stable worlds, in stable societies. They have never faced true existential threat. When pushed to their limits, they do not know how to respond. They have spent 10,000 years avoiding conflict by eliminating anything that might challenge them. They have forgotten how to fight. Doan thought about this for a long time. The Dominion had ruled through power and control, crushing any threat before it could grow. But humanity had grown up fighting. Every war, every disaster, every challenge had made them stronger. The Dominion had tried to destroy humanity because they saw violence as weakness. They had not understood that violence was humanity's greatest strength, Veltries finally broke his silence. He sent a message to Earth, requesting a peace summit. He offered to meet at a neutral location to negotiate an end to the war. Dohan agreed. But he set one condition. "We will not discuss peace," he replied. "We will discuss surrender." On worlds across the galaxy, beings who had never heard of Earth before now spoke the word human with something that sounded like wonder. On Orvillus Prime, the remaining members of the Assembly watched their empire crumble and wondered how they had been so wrong. And in the quiet of his cabin, Corvan, still a prisoner aboard a human vessel, finally understood the truth he had spoken 3 years ago. They were predators, and the hunt was almost over. The peace summit was held on a station called Neutral Ground, a place built specifically for meetings between enemies. It floated in empty space, far from any world or any fleet, a small island of diplomacy in a galaxy torn by war. Dahan arrived with his crew, the same people who had stood with him in the assembly hall 6 years ago. Yuna, Somi, Taiwu. They had been young then, uncertain. Now they carried the weight of everything that had happened since. The delegation from the Dominion was smaller than expected. Veltries came, of course, his color-shifting skin now dull with stress and age. A few other ambassadors accompanied him, representing the species that still remained loyal to the old order. They looked tired, defeated, afraid. The meeting room was circular, with a table in the center and windows showing the endless black of space. Dohan sat on one side. Veltries sat on the other. Between them lay the future of the galaxy. "You have come to surrender," Dohan said. It was not a question. Veltries made a sound that might have been a sigh. "I have come to negotiate the terms of peace." "There is nothing to negotiate. The Dominion is finished. Your coalition has collapsed. Your secrets have been exposed. Your crimes have been revealed to every corner of the galaxy. You have no allies, no support, no future. And yet we still have ships. We still have weapons. We could continue the war." Taiwu spoke from his position near the wall. "You could, but you would lose. Every battle, every time, until there is nothing left of your empire but ash and memory." Veltries turned his dark eyes toward the soldier. "You speak with such confidence. Do you truly believe your species is invincible?" "No, we are not invincible. We die just like anyone else. But we do not stop fighting. Ever. You could kill 1,000,000 of us, and the rest would keep coming. You could destroy our homeworld, and we would rebuild among the stars. You cannot defeat us because you cannot break us. And you cannot break us because we were forged in fire." The room was silent. Dohan leaned forward. "You have 2 choices, Ambassador. First, the Dominion can dissolve peacefully. Each species will govern itself. The secrets of your empire will become history, lessons for future generations. Those who committed crimes will face justice, but there will be no genocide, no revenge, no destruction. The galaxy will move forward together. And the second choice? Total war. We will hunt your remaining fleets across the galaxy. We will liberate every world you still control. We will tear down everything you built over 10,000 years, piece by piece, until there is nothing left. It will take time. It will cost lives. But we will not stop until it is done." Veltries closed his eyes. When he opened them again, something had changed. The arrogance was gone. The contempt was gone. Only exhaustion remained. "We accept your terms. The Dominion will dissolve." Dohan nodded. It was done. But as the meeting continued, as diplomats discussed the details of transition and reconstruction, something moved in the shadows. Veltries had accepted defeat, but others had not. The assassins came through the ventilation system. 6 elite soldiers from a faction within the Dominion had refused to surrender. They dropped into the meeting room with weapons raised, their movements fast and deadly. Their leader aimed directly at Dohan's head. Taiwu moved faster. He had known they were coming. Somi had intercepted communications, suggesting a last, desperate strike. Taiwu had prepared his people. Before the assassins could fire a single shot, human soldiers emerged from every corner of the room, disabling the attackers with precise efficiency. In seconds, it was over. 6 assassins lay on the floor, restrained but alive. Not one had been killed. Veltri stared at the scene with open shock. You knew? You knew they were coming, and you did not kill them. Dawan stood and looked down at the captured assassins. We are not you. We do not murder prisoners. We do not execute the defeated. We are not here for revenge. Then why? Why did you fight so hard? Why did you sacrifice so much? Dahan turned to face the ambassador. Behind him, through the windows, the stars burned like eternal flames. You called us a threat. You were right. But you did not understand what we threatened. We do not threaten your species, or your worlds, or your lives. We threaten your power, your control, your belief that the strong may crush the weak without consequence. He stepped closer to Veltris, close enough that the alien could see the fire in his eyes. That is humanity's gift to the galaxy. We refuse to accept the world as it is. We fight against injustice. We stand with the oppressed. We reach for better futures, even when the cost is everything we have. You tried to destroy us because you saw our violence and thought it made us weak. You were wrong. Our violence exists because we care, because we love, because we will do anything to protect what matters to us. Veltris had no answer. The summit ended the next day. The Orathi Dominion officially dissolved, its member species freed to chart their own courses. A new organization was born, a galactic union built on cooperation rather than control. Earth was invited to join as a founding member. Dawn accepted Dot in the weeks that followed. A crew of the Haniel finally found time to rest. The war was over. The galaxy was changing. New challenges waited ahead. But for now, there was peace. Lyra became the first alien ambassador to Earth. She arrived to crowds of curious humans who wanted to see a being from another world. She told them about the galaxy, about its wonders and its dangers, and its infinite possibilities. She told them that humanity had earned its place among the stars. Yuna returned to her research, now working with scientists from a dozen species. They shared knowledge freely, learning from each other in ways that had been impossible under the Dominion's rule. She often said that the greatest victory of the war was not the battles won, but the doors that were opened. Somi received offers from organizations across the galaxy, all wanting her skills. She turned them all down. Instead, she built a new communication network, one that connected every species equally. Her final broadcast of the war became famous, played for generations as a reminder of how quickly things could change. Taiwu retired from military service. He traveled to a small world at the edge of human space, a world much like Mira 7 had been. He built a home there. He planted a garden, and in that garden, he grew purple flowers. Duhun continued to serve as captain of the Haniel, now part of the Union's peacekeeping fleet. He was older now, his hair gray at the temples, his eyes carrying the weight of everything he had seen. But when young officers asked him about the war, he always told them the same thing. We did not win because we were stronger. We won because we never stopped. Remember that. Remember what humanity is. Remember what we can do when we stand together. One day, Corvan requested a meeting with Doan. The former High Commander had been released after the war, stripped of rank and title, but allowed to live. He was old now, older than any human could imagine. But something in his eyes had changed. They met in a small room on a neutral station. Two former enemies sharing a cup of tea. "I have spent much time thinking," Corvan said, "about the war, about your species, about everything we did wrong." Dohan waited. "We thought we understood the galaxy. We thought we knew how civilizations rise and fall. We had 10,000 years of history to guide us. And yet we never saw you coming. Why do you think that is?" Corvan was quiet for a long moment. "Because you are something new, something we had no category for. Every species we encountered fit into patterns we understood. Predators, prey, builders, destroyers. But humans are all of these things and none of them. You contain contradictions that should not exist. You love and hate with equal passion. You create beauty and destruction with the same hands. You are chaos given form." Dohan smiled slightly. "Is that a compliment?" "It is the truth. We tried to control the galaxy by eliminating chaos. We did not understand that chaos is not the enemy of order. It is the source of growth. Without it, everything becomes still, stagnant, dead." Corvan met Dohan's eyes. "You are the chaos the galaxy needed. We were fools to try to stop you." Years later, when Lyra was old and gray, she wrote her memoirs. The book became famous across the galaxy, translated into 1,000 languages, and read by billions of beings. The final paragraph was quoted most often. "We thought humans were dangerous because they fought each other. We watched their history and saw only violence, only conflict, only war. We were fools. Humans are not dangerous because they fight each other. Humans are dangerous because when they stop fighting each other, when they unite against a common enemy, when they focus all their fire and fury outward, they become unstoppable. The galaxy feared us for 10,000 years. Now we know the truth. We were never the threat. Humanity was always the galaxy's true threat, and we are grateful for it." On Earth, in a garden where purple flowers bloomed, Taiwu read those words and smiled. The galaxy was vast. The future was uncertain. But humanity was ready. They had always been ready, and they were just getting started.